You would not believe how many times I've tried to start this recording. So anyway, Justin, G0KSC for Moonraker Online. If you want to see a little bit more in-depth information on these videos, then please look us up on YouTube. Moonraker Online is what you need to search for, and like and subscribe there. So what's going on at the moment? Some interesting stuff actually. As we progress and being around the peak of the solar cycle at the moment, with some good sunspot numbers. At the moment, and looking this morning, it's around 196. Solar Flux Index is 245. So what does that mean? In short, for us that have not been in the hobby as long as others, that means some excellent HF radio conditions. Simple antennas, a few watts, wire antennas can get you around the world on 10 meters, 12 meters, 15 or wherever. So there's a great deal of fun to be had. However, you will have a interruption in service for a short period of time. Last night around 10:30 UTC, there was a major solar flare. This was recorded at X7.1. So what does that mean? Firstly, we're going to look at one of the resources online. This one, Solar Ham, is an excellent one. It's run by Kevin, VE3EN. And I've actually asked Kevin to come and join us for a chat. So fingers crossed that happens. You can also follow Solar Ham on Facebook. They've got around 100,000 subscribers there. And Kevin updates this religiously as soon as there are any events. So this is a great go-to to give you information as to what's going to happen. If you switch on one day and the HF bands are dead, they've disappeared, it's probably the case that a solar flare has hit us. So where that happened last night at 10:30, it will take a little time before that gets to us. It's going to be a few hours more and maybe later today. Then the activity on the HF bands will be taken out for a day or so, and then it will return back to normal, assuming that there's not another solar flare in between time. So the reason that this is an event of note is because although the HF bands will be affected negatively, there will be some auroral activity on 2 meters and 70 sems, or VHF and UHF. And this will, Mark Haynes showed us some footage on 2 meters of some auroral CW activity a few weeks ago. And that's the kind of thing that will likely happen again, as well as being able to see the auroras, the aurora borealis, very low down in latitude and maybe even in the southern parts of the UK and beyond. So how significant is this solar flare? 7.1 is quite a strong flare, and it is the strongest of the cycle so far. If we go back to the last cycle, the peak was, I think it was 9.3, X 9.3 is what the rated X flare was. It wasn't a particularly high solar cycle, of course, and it's nowhere near what the record was. The record solar flare was actually an X45 flare, and that was known as the Halloween flare. And just to give you an idea as to how that looked on the charts, if we look at this one here, you can see normal activity and some of the solar flares that you would expect within a solar cycle. And then you've got this huge, great big peak here. So how that would have looked is something along these lines, like this one, if I overlay that here. This is a pictorial view from NASA with the sun blocked out in the middle with that little dot. And it shows you the size of the eruption off of the side of the sun, which is absolutely huge. So this plasma travels through space at not quite the speed of light, which is why it takes quite a few hours to arrive at Earth, and then when it does, it interrupts the atmosphere on the southern and northern hemispheres. So hopefully it won't be too long before things get back to normal. And just as an indication, I was looking on some of the chat groups last night, and there was one ham in Wales that managed to work on 6 meters into ZS6NK in South Africa on a 160 meter doublet and 100 watts. So that's the kind of thing that you need to look out for. Certainly when solar flux index is above 200, look out on 6 meters in the evenings for some TEP, which is transequatorial propagation, taking you down to South Africa, South America, and those sorts of places. So pretty much that's it for today. As I say, it's a short one because it's going on all the socials, but a bit more in depth on YouTube. So see you there soon.